merchant processing. Everybody has been asking, what do I do for merchant processing? Now, this video is going to really dive in depth into the processing world, how it works with all of my years of research. Again, this is all educational. And the one thing I really want to tell everybody is I'm sorry if this video makes you mad because I'm exposing some stuff or bringing some stuff to the light. And I will tell you what is legal, what is not legal, why it's not legal. I'm going to break down every little minute thing that I've learned and providing education on. And the one thing I can say is that anybody venturing into the MRR, the recurring space, check out Anthony Massalone's recurcom.com. He's a consultant. He actually learned from one of the best. And so again, he knows the ins and outs, has all the connections that somebody would need to run this correctly. So again, check it out. I'm not an affiliate. I get nothing from it. He's just one of my best friends, and supporting him and anybody else who needs help with specifically recurring, whether or not you need merchants, etc. So the very first thing I want to dive into is where do you find a processor? And that's the hardest part. Okay, so the merchant processing world is specifically who you know, right? And you have to constantly be making connections. So the best way to do that would be get into groups, discords, etc. And never ever stop. Once you find one, don't stop, shop around. You always can find somebody who can most likely get you better rates or perhaps even get you a better bank, an underwriter, higher mid caps, etc. So what does that all mean? We'll get to it. So what to understand, domestic versus offshore. So offshore processing is exactly as it sounds. It's offshore, typically on some island. And the thing is that it's specifically for high risk offers. So pre-check boxes, Nutra, PP pills, stuff like that is what offshore merchant processing offers. Now, what's the drawdown is that the decline percentages are through the roof. Sometimes the declines will end up being like 40, 50, 60%, which again is absolutely terrible. Now, domestic, as it sounds, is a underwriter, a bank that is here, whether it's JP Morgan and Chase, whatever bank that your merchant processor can go ahead and get for you, whatever mid he's able to get for you, etc. So I just talked about the decline of percentage of offshore, but one thing you need to understand as to why, because it's always good to understand why, is because Visa, MasterCard, Amex, they understand that if a charge is coming from an island, it's more than likely for a fraudulent reason. So they will go ahead and decline the card for the average person, okay? Now we're gonna talk about the match list or being TMF'd. So what is a match list? It's essentially a 5-year blacklist of you being able to process payments online, whether it's Stripe, through a bank, PayPal, your social security in this case, or your ID, you as a person, the info you submit to a bank to underwrite you, they're gonna say no. And it's due to a lot of times, it could be a few different things. It can be extremely high chargebacks. I'm talking like 7-8% plus. And there was an instance where I had a partner and he had the store up and the store ran its course, right? It was a drop shipping store. And the problem is that once the store ran its course and it wasn't profitable anymore, he shut it down. And then people were trying to get support. There was no support. There was no website. Stripe looked at it and was like, whoa, this is a scam. Not only did it have high chargebacks because of lack of support, but there was also no website. So Stripe automatically was just like, no, auto TMF, auto match list. Now, can you get off the match list? Yes, in 5 years, or you have to get an attorney to fight for you. Does that work? I mean, to be fair, I can't answer yes or no because I haven't had any experiences with an attorney fighting the bank to get you off the list, but is it possible? Yes. Again, there just needs to be some sort of process that this can go through, and unfortunately, it's not the easiest thing. So what does that lead into? How do you process then? So I don't really know the exact acronym definition for IBO. Maybe somebody in the comments can let me know. But it's essentially a practice where and this is where things get very, very sticky, which we'll dive into, no pun intended if you get that. We'll dive into at the very end because IBOs can actually if done incorrectly, can actually land you a RICO charge, a racketeering for money laundering. And that's a minimum of 25 years. And again, there's a Department of Justice documents out there already of people getting charged for this already. But again, if you do it correctly, you do it clean as you can, as clean as you want, you should be good. So how to get TMF'd, I kind of explained high chargebacks or just what seems to be fraudulent activity. And unfortunately, sometimes there's just no reason, and you'll never get a reason. They'll never give you a reason. Bank pages. Okay, so I want to add a disclaimer here. This is just stuff that I have learned from, being around and seeing stuff. Okay, bank pages is something. If you have somebody setting up your mids, a merchant setting up your mids, you never want to talk to them over messaging about bank pages. And you're probably saying, Dan, this sounds like you're charting into some very bad territory. Like I said, educational only. I've never done this. It's just I've heard about it and I've seen it, I think. But what's a bank page? Well, let me explain to you. If you submit your website with a subscription box on it, so for example, this right here, if you submit this page to the bank, because the bank's going to want to go ahead and see the page, sometimes they actually come in person to see the office, if you will, and you never need to have an actual office. They just want to see that it's an actual place of residency. Maybe it is an office, whatever it is. So they'll go ahead and do that if they need to. But let's get back to this. If you were to submit this to a bank, for the underwriter, they're going to say, no shot, like 0%. Will this pass? Why? Because the box is pre-checked. There's no terms of service that are clearly defined. And if you look at the terms of service down here, you could see that it's over here because it's the 5 bottles that's static. That's just originally picked when you first come on here, which makes it seem like the best deal. They charge $248 a month for the subscription. Now, again, it's very, very vague. This little box right here, right? That's the recurring. Now, if you submit this to the bank, they're going to be like, no. So let's just say it's getminigummies.com. For simplicity purposes, let's call this 123store.com. What you would do, or what somebody would do, not you, but what somebody would do is they would create 1234store.com with everything compliant. And that's what they would show the bank. That's what they would submit. But it doesn't mean they're running traffic to that site. They'll be using 123, but showing 1234. The bank's gonna be like, okay. Now the thing is that all the prices need to match as well. And if you have a subscription, then you can add in one of those ethical subscription boxes like Amazon has that say, hey, do you want that? And make the subscription the same price as the subscription it would be with a pre-check. Again, theoretically, this is how I've seen it all done. I really got to protect myself on this video here. I'm going out on a limb. So bank pages is fraud. You're defrauding a bank. Highly not recommended. Highly not recommended. But there are people that do this, and that's how they get away with it. And that's all I can speak on this. That's a bank page. Okay, now we're going to talk about load balancing. What is load balancing? Well, traditionally speaking, when you apply for mids are merchant accounts, again, who processes your payments. A lot of times people are like, okay, I have one, but the mid cap, which means the cap that they'll allow you to process every single month, might not be that high, depending on your bank statements and or previous 90-day processing history from a store that you gave to them before. Okay, so a lot of times mids are always ran, like multiple different mids are ran. Now here's the thing, load balancing, I don't know if it's illegal, maybe unethical. I'm not too sure on the legality of this. Again, educational. So in every single CRM, like Connective or Sticky, etc., what you're able to do is you're able to put all your mids in. So you'll have mid 1, mid 2, and mid 3, right? So what happens here is all the sales, they cycle. So if you get 3 sales, one will go here, another will go here, another will go here, and then back to mid 1, right? So this is 33%, 33%, 33% across all of these. Now here's the thing. Let's say you're getting close to the end of the month and or the new month starts, and you notice that mid number 2 has a 3% chargeback. Oh my goodness, this is like bad, because again, past like 1%, 1.5%, they start questioning and will potentially close you down. So what do? Well, instead of 33% here, you might do 25%, and then 25% here, and then the transactions might be 50%. So essentially, if we're going out of 4 transactions, 1 will go to mid 1, 2 will go to mid 2, and 1 will go to mid 3. So there's more transactions going to mid 2 to offset the volume. And again, this is one way to really help mitigate chargebacks aside from chargeback mitigators. But chargeback mitigators send out alerts from banks before a chargeback happens, which costs a pretty penny. Thus why a lot of these subscription models, they're higher price because of the fees and everything associated. So 90-day LLC churns. This is very interesting. So you can actually use something like Wyoming Registered Agents. This is the one that I use right over here for businesses not associated with this, of course. And what you're able to do is you're able to have them on your, sign for you. They will be the owners of the company, but they sign over the ownership to the members. Who are the members? You and whoever else you want on there. If it's a partnership, 50-50. So they give you a legal document saying, okay, we're the registered agents, but the owners are the members. And so it's member owned. If you go and take a look at one of my companies, this is again registered through Wyoming Registered Agents. This is their address that they let you use. So they sign up for you. But if you go ahead and go and look at all the public information, look, you'll see there's history from the state. However, you'll see that this is what people will be getting access to if they try to search you on the LLC. They can't find you because, again, your name isn't on here, like whatsoever. And they can't willingly pull the EIN. The EIN that's registered with the IRS federally, you're going to be sole member on it. That's how they set it up. And so the EIN can't just be pulled by some random Joe Schmo. So that's, again, it protects you, and merchant processors accept this as well, just to be very clear. So what does it mean to churn? Well, here's the thing with merchant processors is that you have a roughly 90-day gap when you get your mid and start running traffic to it, where on day 90 forwards is typically when all the chargebacks happen. People realize that they're getting charged, they charge back everything, but you have 3 months processing history on that LLC. So what this means is that you can take that 3-month processing history, create a new LLC, and use the previous 3 months processing history before it shows all the chargebacks, saying, hey, look, we're conducting business really well, because they only want to see, typically banks only want to see previous 3 months or money in your bank account. So again, what you're able to do theoretically, you can always dissolve the company, the previous LLC, use the new one after you do your taxes, of course. And this is all could be done inside their portal. They have services. I think it's like $350 for a new LLC, like $150 to dissolve it. So you're able to 90-day churn, as some people call it and some people do. Again, this is if you're running really high risk and doing a lot of volume. So chargeback mitigators. What is a chargeback mitigator? A chargeback mitigator is an alert system. So a chargeback mitigator is essentially a alert system that works with the banks, and when a chargeback happens, before it hits your account, like Visa, MasterCard, etc., will send out an alert to the mitigator, but it costs like $30, $50, $75 plus, depending where the alert is coming from. So to you get the alert and you can refund it before it hits as a chargeback. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, when they're running subscriptions, they have a higher subscription price, because once the chargebacks come in, the mitigators start to really add up. Does it help protect you? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not like the end all be all, and the fees add up so quick. It's not cheap. And by the way, most of the time, whoever you get your mids from will have a mitigator, or you can, whatever CRM you're using, you can see and ask around and, kind of get plugged in on some really good mitigators and workout deals. Friendlies. What are friendlies? This isn't really a common practice anymore. Friendlies is essentially when you get, these Visa gift cards and put $1 on them, get like 500 of them, run $1 through the mids, and now you have 500 unique transactions to offset the chargeback ratio. So again, friendlies, nobody really does. And I think this right here, IBOs and fraud, max scale suggestion, and giving you examples of certain things, I'm going to make a video part 2. If you want the part 2, what I want you to do is follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to be posting some information there on how to watch it before anybody else, because I don't know if I'm actually going to release the video publicly because of the info that is going to be revealed. You get the idea. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, and most importantly, if there's a lot of support on this video, likes, comments, heck, even if you screenshot it, post on your story, tag me, just to show support that this is what you guys want to learn, or it's very insightful, that'd be cool. So I've been making these videos off the cuff because I just feel recently a little bit different. Just kind of like, as you guys know, I've been away for like almost 3 years. Learned a lot, have built very well. And so I think recently now it's just like this thing of fulfillment and helping other people as much as I can, giving the pros and the cons and letting you decide what you want. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe, I guess. Peace.